They filled arenas and topped charts and sold out theaters and had their faces on every magazine that existed. For a decade, the entire world watched them. In this video, we visit the graves of legendary 80s stars and show you exactly where they are buried today, right here in California. Andy Gibb died March 10, 1988, age 30. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, California. Courts of Remembrance section, Ascension Road Vault. He was the youngest of the Gibb brothers by 9 years and the only one who was not a Beagie, a distinction that defined his career and, some argued, his psychology. He released I Just Want to Be Your Everything in 1977 at age 19, and it reached #1 in the United States. He had 3 consecutive #1 singles on the Billboard, Hot 100 before he was 21, a record no solo artist had achieved before him. He was photographed everywhere his brothers were photographed, at every event the Bee Gees attended, always slightly to the side of the frame. He developed a cocaine addiction that cost him a relationship with Victoria Principal, whom he had publicly declared the love of his life. He lost hosting roles on Solid Gold and An American Bandstand due to absences connected to his addiction. He entered rehabilitation programs. He attempted comebacks. He was 30 years old when he died of myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle, at John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford, England, 5 days after checking in for a viral infection. He had been scheduled to appear in a London West End production. His heart had been weakened by years of cocaine use and could not manage the infection. He is buried in the Courts of Remembrance at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills, in a vault on Ascension Road, 4 miles from the studio where his brothers had built the career he had spent his life standing adjacent to. Rick Nelson died December 31, 1985, age 45. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, California. He was famous before he was old enough to understand what famous meant, appearing as a character version of himself on his family's television show, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, from age 8 until he was 26 years old. He used the show's audience to launch a recording career, releasing A Teenager's Romance in 1957 when he was 16, and it went to #2. Hello, Mary Lou in 1961. Garden Party in 1972, a song he wrote after being booed at Madison Square Garden for not playing his hits, became his final top 10 entry, a sardonic and beautiful piece of work about the cost of being known for something you outgrew. He spent the 1970s and 1980s touring steadily as a country rock act with the Stone Canyon Band, playing venues that were smaller than the ones that had housed him in the 1950s, and doing it with complete professionalism. On December 31, 1985, his DC-3 aircraft caught fire in flight en route from Guntersville, Alabama to Dallas, Texas, and made an emergency landing in a field near DeKalb, Texas. Nelson and 6 others died. The cause of the fire was disputed for years. He was 45 years old. His parents, Ozzie and Harriet, who had made him famous by putting a camera on him at age 8, outlived him. John Ritter died September 11, 2003, age 54. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, California. He was Jack Tripper on Three's Company from 1977 to 1984, the most watched sitcom in America during its peak years. And his physical comedy, the falls, the double takes, the precise calibration of misunderstanding played at full speed, was so accomplished that the critics who dismissed the show were forced to acknowledge that what he was doing with his body every week was technically remarkable. He followed Three's Company with 8 simple rules in 2002, playing a father in a family sitcom that felt like a second act the industry had not expected him to earn. He was 54 years old and 1 episode into the 2nd season when he collapsed on the set during a table read on September 11, 2003, complaining of nausea. He was taken to Providence St. Joseph Medical Center in Burbank, where surgeons discovered a dissection of the aorta, a tear in the main artery from the heart that had gone undetected in previous medical examinations. He died on the operating table during emergency surgery. He had been misdiagnosed on admission as a heart attack. The correct diagnosis came too late. He was 54 years old. He died in the same hospital where his father Tex Ritter had died 30 years before. Liberace died February 4, 1987, age 67. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, California. Courts of Remembrance section, map A39, Distinguished Memorial, sarcophagus 4. He was Wadziu Valentino Liberace, born in West Allis, Wisconsin, the son of a French horn player, and he sat at a piano for the first time at age 4 and did not stop. He was performing classical concerts by his early teens. He chose Las Vegas and television over Carnegie Hall, which the classical establishment never forgave and audiences never cared about. He wore fur coats worth more than most houses. He wore capes. He played a piano covered in mirrors. He drove a car whose hood ornament was a rhinestone-studded candelabra. He had 57 years of performing and had grossed more money as a live entertainer than any other performer in Las Vegas history by the time of his death. He sued and won a libel suit against a British tabloid that had implied he was gay in 1959. He denied being gay for the entirety of his public life. He died of AIDS-related pneumonia on February 4, 1987, at his Palm Springs home. The Riverside County Coroner's Office confirmed the cause of death over the objections of his manager, who had publicly stated he was dying of heart disease caused by a watermelon diet. He died weighing 96 pounds. His sarcophagus at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills is among the most elaborate in the Courts of Remembrance, which seems appropriate and is. Sammy Davis Jr. died May 16, 1990, age 64. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Garden of Honor, Garden Crypt 57074. He was performing in vaudeville at age 2 with his father and his uncle. By 7, he was a professional entertainer. By the time he was 20, he had served in the Army, been stationed with a black unit in the segregated military of the 1940s, survived treatment that he described in his autobiography as among the most formative experiences of his life, and returned to civilian life with a clarity about what he intended to do. He lost his left eye in an automobile accident in 1954 and was back on stage within weeks. He converted to Judaism in 1954, an act that drew suspicion from both communities and which he maintained for the rest of his life. He was a member of the Rat Pack. He was the most versatile entertainer in America through the 1960s and 1970s, capable of singing, dancing, impressions, stand-up, and dramatic acting at the professional ceiling of each discipline simultaneously. He was diagnosed with throat cancer in 1989. At the time of his diagnosis, he appeared in a tribute concert organized by Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, at which an all-star cast performed while Davis, who had already received radiation treatment, stood at the microphone in a tuxedo and said almost nothing, but the room was silent anyway. He died at his Beverly Hills home on May 16, 1990. His headstone reads, "The entertainer, he did it all." The Urs had a lien on his estate of $7 million when he died. He had given away most of what he made while he was alive. John Candy died March 4, 1994, age 43, buried at Holy Cross Cemetery, Culver City, California. Mausoleum, entombed above Fred McMurray. He grew up in a working-class Catholic family in Newmarket, Ontario, the son of a man who died of a heart attack when Candy was 5 years old, a fact that everyone who knew him as an adult says he carried visibly. He was one of the original not-ready-for-primetime players who did not go to Saturday Night Live, building instead through Second City Toronto and Seat V in Canada before American film found him. Stripes in 1981. National Lampoon's Vacation in 1983. Splash in 1984. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in 1987, where his performance in the final 10 minutes of that film, the reveal of what the Del Griffith character is actually carrying, is one of the most quietly devastating pieces of dramatic work in American comedy. Uncle Buck in 1989. Cool Runnings in 1993. He was shooting Wagons East on location in Durango, Mexico, when he died in his sleep on March 4, 1994 of a heart attack. He was 43 years old, the same age his father had been when he died. He weighed approximately 300 pounds and had been told repeatedly by doctors to address his diet and his heart. He is buried in the mausoleum at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, directly above Fred McMurray, which is either coincidence or the universe maintaining a sense of humor appropriate to the man. Farrah Fawcett died June 25, 2009, age 62, buried at Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park, Los Angeles, California. Her red swimsuit poster sold 6 million copies in its first year, 1976, and the image, the smile, the hair, the uncomplicated joy of it, became one of the most reproduced photographs in American commercial history. She had left Charlie's Angels after its first season to pursue film work, which infuriated the network and the producers and delighted her, and the films she made through the 1980s were the films of an actress who was trying to be taken seriously by an industry that had already decided what she was worth. Her performance in The Burning Bed in 1984, as a battered wife who kills her abusive husband by setting fire to their home while he sleeps, earned her an Emmy nomination and demonstrated that what she could do had been misused since the beginning. She was diagnosed with anal cancer in 2006 and documented her treatment in a video diary that became the Emmy-nominated television documentary Farrah's Story in 2009. She died on June 25, 2009 at St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica. Michael Jackson died on the same day, and most of the world's media attention went to him, a fact noted by her friends and colleagues with a bitterness that has not fully dissipated. She is buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park next to Rodney Dangerfield. Dean Martin died December 25, 1995, age 78, buried at Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park, Los Angeles, California. He was born Dino Paul Crescetti in Steubenville, Ohio, and he worked as a card dealer and amateur boxer before he started singing, which meant he came to the microphone without fear of anything the audience might do. He and Jerry Lewis were the most popular comedy duo in America from 1946 to 1956. After the split with Lewis, which was acrimonious in ways neither man fully disclosed publicly for decades, Martin rebuilt his solo career and became something larger, a singer, an actor, a television host, a Las Vegas institution, the most effortlessly charming man in American entertainment. His 1964 recording of Everybody Loves Somebody knocked the Beatles out of #1. That's Amour. Volare. Memories are made of this. His NBC variety show ran for 9 seasons. He was a member of the Rat Pack and the most relaxed one. His son, Dean Paul Martin, was killed in an F-4 Phantom jet crash in 1987 during National Guard training in California. Martin never recovered from it publicly or privately. He withdrew from Las Vegas, from recording, from his friends, and spent the final years of his life largely at home. He died of acute respiratory failure on Christmas Day, 1995. He is buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park. His stone reads, "Everybody loves somebody sometime." Dean Paul Martin is buried nearby. Natalie Wood died November 29, 1981, age 43. Buried at Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park, Los Angeles, California. She was in her first film at age 4 and in Miracle on 34th Street at age 8. She was 18 when Rebel Without a Cause made her a star of the First Order. Splendor in the Grass in 1961 earned her an Academy Award nomination. West Side Story in 1961 made her a screen icon. She was one of the most consequential film actresses of the 1960s, and the industry spent the following decade and a half finding increasingly less adequate ways to use her. She was 43 years old, filming Brainstorm off Santa Catalina Island, and she had been on her yacht, the Splendor, on the night of November 28, 1981, with her husband Robert Wagner and her co-star Christopher Walken. In the early hours of November 29, she went into the water. Her body was found the following morning floating a mile from the boat, wearing a down jacket and socks, no life preserver. The cause of death was listed as drowning. The Los Angeles County coroner noted bruises on her body. The case was reopened in 2011 when the captain of the yacht changed his account of the events of the night. In 2018, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department changed her cause of death to drowning and other undetermined factors. Robert Wagner has never been charged with any crime. Natalie Wood is buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park. The stone reads, "More Than Love." Sharon Tate died August 9, 1969, age 26, buried at Holy Cross Cemetery, Culver City, California. She was a working actress, building a career through the mid-1960s in television and film, bit parts, then supporting roles, then a breakout performance in Valley of the Dolls in 1967. And she had married director Roman Polanski in January 1969 and was 8.5 months pregnant with their son when, on the night of August 8 and the early hours of August 9, 1969, 4 members of the Manson family entered the house at 150 CeeLo Drive in Benedict Canyon and killed Sharon Tate and 4 others, Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Stephen Parent, a teenager who happened to be visiting the caretaker. Tate pleaded for her life and the life of her unborn child. She was stabbed 16 times. She died at age 26. Her son, whom she had planned to name Paul Richard Polanski, died with her. Charles Manson and the 4 killers were convicted of first-degree murder. Manson died in prison in 2017. Sharon Tate is buried at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City. Her mother, Doris Tate, spent the rest of her life advocating against parole for her daughter's killers and became one of the most influential voices in California's victims' rights movement. She is buried next to Sharon. Sam Cooke died December 11, 1964, age 33. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. He was the son of a Baptist minister from Clarksdale, Mississippi, and he sang in church before he understood what it meant to perform. He joined the Soul Stirrers at 19, and within a year had transformed gospel performance in America with a vocal technique so fluid and precise that other singers spent careers trying to approximate what he did by instinct. He crossed over to pop in 1957 with You Send Me, which sold 7 million copies, Wonderful World in 1960, Chain Gang in 1960, Twistin' the Night Away in 1962, Another Saturday Night in 1963, A Change Is Gonna Come in 1963, which he wrote after being turned away from a whites only motel in Louisiana and which became one of the defining anthems of the American civil rights movement. He was building his own label, Saw Records, and managing other artists and constructing the kind of institutional control that almost no black artist in the early 1960s possessed. On December 11, 1964, he was shot and killed by Bertha Franklin, the manager of the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles, who said he had attacked her. The precise circumstances of the events of that night remain in dispute. He was 33 years old. A Change Is Gonna Come was released 3 weeks after his death. Michael Jackson died June 25, 2009, age 50, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California, the Great Mausoleum, Holly Terrace. He joined the Jackson 5 at age 6. He released his first solo album, Got to Be There, at age 13. He was the most famous entertainer in the world by age 25, when Thriller became the best-selling album in recorded music history, a position it has never relinquished across 40-plus years. He had won 8 Grammy Awards in a single night in 1984. Off the Wall in 1982. Off the Wall in 1982. Bad in 1987. Dangerous in 1991. He changed the grammar of music video, of choreography, of live performance staging, of the relationship between a solo performer and a global mass audience, each time in ways the industry could observe and could not reproduce. He spent the years from the late 1990s forward in legal proceedings, financial difficulties, and a public deterioration that was documented with a thoroughness that served no purpose except to watch. He died on June 25, 2009, at his rented home in Holmby Hills, Los Angeles, of acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His personal physician, Dr. Seeley, Conrad Murray, had been administering the surgical anesthetic as a sleep aid. Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in 2011 and served 2 years of a 4-year sentence. Jackson had been 12 days from the start of his This Is It comeback residency at London's O2 Arena. He is buried in the Great Mausoleum at Forest Lawn, Glendale, in a section not accessible to the public. The mausoleum also contains Clark Gable and Carole Lombard. The most famous pop star in human history is buried 40 feet from the most famous film star of the 1930s. Dorothy Dandridge died September 8, 1965, age 42, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. She was the first black woman nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress for Carmen Jones in 1954. That fact alone could serve as the entirety of her epitaph, because the sentence it sits inside, the first, in 1954 in America, contains everything about what her career was built against. She could not stay at the hotels where she performed in Las Vegas. She could not sit by the pool. She was listed on the marquee above the name of the venue and was not permitted in the same room as the guests who paid to see her name. She recorded albums and performed internationally and was pursued by every major film studio in the world following the success of Carmen Jones, and the roles she was offered were confined to what the studio system believed a black woman could play. The films she was given after that nomination were inadequate. Her finances collapsed. She filed for bankruptcy in 1962. She was found dead in her West Hollywood apartment on September 8, 1965, of an accidental overdose of an antidepressant drug, tofranil, combined with barbiturates. She was 42 years old. Halle Berry accepted the Academy Award for Best Actress in 2002, holding a photograph of Dorothy Dandridge, and wept at the podium. It had taken 48